Hello and welcome everyone. I'd like to take this opportunity to give you a brief introduction to a new application from New Era Software we call ICEDirect. ICEDirect is simply an application to deal with the management of data and the analysis of data and make it easier for you. I'll explain more as we go deeper into this brief presentation. It is a tool that can be fully integrated into your ZOSMF environment, or it can work functionally as its own web application. And you log into a website and have full access to the same set of applications and controls that I'm about to show you. But basically what we're doing here in this example is to show you the use of ICEDirect to help you analyze the output from one of our products called Image Focus. I know it's a very popular product, so chances are many of you that are viewing this are using Image Focus and familiar with the output of its inspection process, where it has analyzed the structure of an IPL of an individual LPAR or a group of LPARs within a sysplex and produces out a sequential data set that contains a very comprehensive description of that structure and analyzes it for any kind of risk or problems that may exist and helps you understand things that you need to deal with. We're going to look at this from a standpoint of how we can improve that information. It's still all the same within this sequential data set, but what we're doing now with ICEDirect is pulling these logs together, putting in an application on top of it that not only represents the information graphically and with icons and easy to use navigation, but also analyzes it and helps you understand and interpret the results that are in the log. So you can see from this screenshot where I've got 5 different LPARs, it tells me very obviously that 4 of them are A-OK and the 5th one has an error in it. I don't have to dig through all of that sequential data set to see this. All of these icons are actionable buttons. They even provide a different view of the data, or they perform some kind of an action or some type of analysis. But it's very clear to see to both the experienced user that's familiar with what we're doing with Image Focus or the inexperienced user, someone not familiar with how to use the panels and how to interpret the results. It's doing all that work for you. So as I began to investigate what it's telling me, it's just a matter of clicking through with your mouse and being able to see that there's a problem, where that problem is, a description of the particular problem. They actually see the source statements that are causing the issue or the problem, but they give me the ability to fully interpret the results of those inspections very quickly, very easily, and do it graphically. So I'm not dealing with thousands of lines of output in a sequential data set that needs to be managed through an ISPF interface where I have to use the find command and know how to search for a string and all those other kind of things to kind of figure it out. Now, for those of us who are experienced with that, that's all still there. But this is just a new way of viewing that and making that information much more valuable and usable for your organization. We know that oftentimes when there's a problem, it's a result of a change. It's someone has made a modification or an improvement or added something to the structure. And so one of the things that this application will do for you automatically is also detect changes between different versions of those logs as they're being produced and being able to identify those changes to you. So you can see from this example at the very bottom of the panel that we detected a change in the ProgCM member. I've highlighted those two. I can click on those and ask for a compare between those two. And again, with just a click of a mouse, I now am able to see what change was made to that particular member and get more information about that. And again, I can go and look at the content of the member. If I have the control editor in place, I can go over and look at the actual change event, who made the change, what was the documentation for that change. All of that is readily available now through a click of a button with my mouse. I don't have to go search and find and open up different reports and go to different structures to try to figure it out. That's the idea of ICEDirect, is to give you a tool that's very usable, very friendly, not require a whole lot of knowledge about commands and paneling structures in that. Also within ICEDirect, we give you the ability to assemble these logs together into groups. Now, this is important because what we're going to do is begin to help you analyze and compare not only different versions of the same structure in the same LPAR over time, but be able to look at comparisons of other structures in other LPARs and compare them together at the same time. So what we've done now is giving you the ability to assemble these different logs into these groups and then manage the group as a single entity. So in this case, I've got all 5 LPARs. I've collected them together. You can see the information summarized. Again, I have all my action buttons here to let me go and do whatever I want. I can run what's called LPAR analytics and compare all 5 of these at a single request, or I can select 1 or 2 or 3 or whatever number I want. And there is really no limit on the upward side, on the upward count of this. So if you have 15 LPARs, you could look at this with all 15. This is just the entry point of some of the things we want to compare against. We want to compare, for example, the authorized library inventory across all 5 of those LPARs. So with, again, just a click, I now have a partial list of all the APF authorized data sets across those 5 LPARs. I can get a complete list, or I can subset that and give it qualifications. In this case, show me all the data sets that have IFO in their name that are on the APF list, and show me LPAR by LPAR the inventory. And again, near the bottom, third from the bottom, you can see that system B has a different inventory than the rest of the systems in this particular set. Now, this may be what I expected. It may not be what I expected, but what it's telling me is the differences that exist across the different LPARs. I want to point out at this time that the comparison logic we do within ICEDirect can be made intelligent, can learn, can understand that there are certain things between LPARs that are both constant and things that should be unique to each LPAR. You can actually instruct the compare logic of those things that should be constant and compare only those items, and not compare those things that should be unique for each LPAR. It reduces false positives. It makes it much easier to trust the results of the comparison. But anywhere where we do comparison between entities or LPARs or full sysplexes, we have that ability built into it to, again, to make the compare more intelligent, or if you will, a smart intelligence within the compare logic. Additionally, each user has the ability to build their own grouping. So we can do a group for everybody. As in my case, I took the 5 LPARs within a particular sysplex, and everyone can view those and analyze them and look at them as a group set. Or individually, you can build your own set. So if you have LPARs that you're responsible that may be on different sysplexes, maybe in different geographic locations, but somehow they're important to each other. They trade data. They have to be built the same way. They have to have the same constant capabilities. You can put those together into a logical group yourself and manage them in much the same way. You can name them. You can identify them. They can exist of just 1 or 2 or 10, 12, 15 different LPARs if you want, that you want to include within your group, and again, manage them as a single entity. In this case, I've got the same 5 because that's all that's really available to me. And again, I have this now analyzed as another group. But you'll see there's a new feature added on this particular panel. At the top line, there's something called the standard that's been established. What this means is that if I build my own custom set, I can then say, look, I want to set in place a standard configuration that all of the LPARs within my set are supposed to be constant with. So I want to know if someone varies from that standard. Is there something called drift occurred within one of the LPARs against the standard? So it gives me another compare point. I basically can freeze the configuration as the standard and then use that to go back and compare any or all of these LPARs against that standard to see what may have been changed. And again, all these buttons are actionable and can give me different results and different compare entities and different display capabilities. But what I've done is gone off and run that. I've forced a change I went actually to an older standard. I've put it in place and replaced the other one, which I can update the standard anytime I want, and then ran the comparison, and it came back and said, well, hey, all 5 of these are different than the standard. That's something that I expected in my little example here, but something you may not expect or be unaware that something has been changed or modified within one of the group, and it's different than the rest of the group or different from the standard. So it gives you the ability to manage that. But again, the whole goal of ICEDirect in this example using image focus is to help you understand, interpret, and analyze the data for you. Now that work that's being done that you may do through the panel can also be done by monitors. There's little background monitors that can be enabled through ICEDirect that will do the same work, identify problems, changes, whatever may exist, send off notifications of those things. Those requests or those monitors are configured through ICEDirect as well. So you've got the best of both worlds. You've got the ability to very easily analyze the results in these logs, but also the ability to monitor them independently and just be made aware of the results of those. So there's a lot of benefit to ICEDirect, and we provide that through a series of other applications with other target data. So we have our other product, the Control Editor. I mentioned that. Some of you are customers of that. It has its own journaling system, and it keeps track of changes and actions taken by other people, like commands and things like that. All of that is written to the journaling system. The Control Editor has an application that helps you both manage and analyze the results in those journals. This helps you with compliance for the different regulations that are out there from government agencies, both in North America and in Europe. So we have a lot of applications within ICEDirect to help you with that, again, using the data source created by the Control Editor. There's another application we have called Certificate Intelligence. And as the name kind of indicates, it helps you both manage, that is to create, understand, interpret, evaluate certificates that exist, digital certificates from the mainframe. But it also gives you testing tools, so you can test the handshake, if you will, on a given request between the mainframe and some outbound server or wherever connection is, and be able to test that and manage that whole certificate process. There's applications dealing with the RACF data source, with the ICSF data source. There's help with you if you're building different IPL structures, whether it be validated boot, secure boot, or list-directed IPLs. All of those things now can be managed and understand and interpret through ICEDirect. So what I'd like you to do is, if you want to find out more about this, there's a couple different things that you can do. One is to contact us and say, look, I'd like to learn more about ICEDirect or about the Control Editor or Certificate Intelligence or whatever your question is. Please give us a call or go to our website, and we're glad to arrange that for you. But the idea being is that we're here to exchange the information about what we have in our products and the capabilities that will assist you in whatever ongoing requirements that you're working on, whether it be to catch up with NIST or DORA, or if it's whether or not you're looking at putting up a new structure, going to 3.1 or whatever you're looking to do. The idea is we can help you with various products. In addition to that, if you're going to share in Kansas City, come see us. We'll be in the Technology Exchange exhibit hall. Come down, we'll have a booth, come and talk to us. I'll be glad to answer any questions and show you some of the other capabilities that we have within New Era software. We also plan on having a vendor presentation at Share and doing a lunch and learn. So check your schedule and come by and sign up for those things as well. And we'll be glad to, again, provide more information to you. Anyway, this was just a quick overview. Thank you very much for coming out and watching this. If you please contact us if you require or would like more additional information. Goodbye and thank you.